I'm Thomas GANDY, and I'll be guiding you through the brief program of speakers we have for you tonight. And then we will hear from our guest of honor. This great turnout we see in this room tonight is really a testament to the positive impact Cathy Whiteman has made in the city of Irving over the years, and we thank you all for being here. Just a couple of announcements. We want to recognize Cathy's family. Please raise your hand if you're a part of Cathy's family. I know several of them are here in attendance. We're so happy you could be with us. Also representing Irving City Council, Alza Ponta is here. We also have a number of former city council members in attendance. We appreciate you braving the weather and making it out tonight. So glad to hear from you. And we'll be hearing from Mayor Rick Stouffer shortly. From the city manager's office, I saw Chris Hillman here. Thank you for coming. A few thank yous. We want to thank the Irving Symphony Orchestra Jazz Trio. Great job. Really a treat. The music's been great throughout the night. Also, my colleagues in the City of Irving's Communications Department helping with a lot of the setup and prep work. We really appreciate all the work that's gone into this. Also, we want to give a big thank you to the Irving Arts Center. They've put so much work into making this really a special event for Cathy. And of course, that thank you leads me right into our first speaker, the Director of Arts and Culture for the City of Irving, Todd Hawkins.
Good evening. I can guarantee you this is the first time I have ever been asked to stand on a platform at the Irving Arts Center. I'm Todd Hawkins, Executive Director of the Department of Arts and Culture, which includes the Irving Arts Center and Irving Archives and Museum. That'll become an important point in a minute. So there's no time like the present to start telling the truth. And retirements are really time where you should do that. So I'm not going to hold anything back, and I'm going to tell Cathy the absolute truth. When I got to Irving, I did not like Cathy Whiteman. There, I said it. I'll explain. Starting in 1982, which is about the time she started working for the city of Irving, I was becoming the voice of every organization that I worked at, starting in 1982 with the Great American Chocolate Chip Cookie Company at Sooner Fashion Mall in Norman, Oklahoma. If you called, you would hear, "Thank you for calling the Great American Chocolate Chip Cookie Company, the home of the Great American Chocolate Chip Cookie." That stopped in about 2008 when I came to work, 2015 when I came to work in Irving. I had been the voice of Columbia Business School, of New York University, and finally I was the voice of public art for public schools. Now, when I applied for this job and I called the city of Irving the very first time, I realized very quickly that was not going to happen in the city of Irving, because they had obviously hired someone who was a professional at this, and there was no way that I was going to be able to go down and be the voice of the city of Irving. Well, I could not think of a better person to embody the spirit of this community. I became wildly in love with Cathy Whiteman the first time I had to sit down with her and have an interview. If you have ever had the privilege of sitting down and being interviewed by Cathy Whiteman, you know it is the easiest thing. It is easier than sitting in a living room and just talking to your mother. I had just gotten here. She had a lot of questions. I was very nervous. She put me at ease immediately. And we celebrated the Mustang's 30+1 celebration on September 24th, 2015. I had many more opportunities to be interviewed by Cathy. I had many more opportunities over the last 8 years to hear that voice. And what I have come to learn is, with the calming, amazing cell phone that she has. She said, "Hi, I'm being roasted right now. Let me call you back later." That voice goes with an amazing presence that comes into a room. It goes with this weight and this grace and this comfort wherever she goes. When she walks into the room, you know she's there. Everyone is comforted, everyone is quieted, everyone is calm. I only take notes from people who I really, really respect. And I have taken more notes and watched Cathy Whiteman more closely than almost anybody else in my career, because she is an amazing community advocate, she is an amazing champion, and she is an amazing person. And I thank you for everything that you've given us, for the voice, for just the presence, for the joy, and for making sure that everybody knew what an amazing community Irving, Texas is. Thank you.
Beautifully said, Todd Hawkins. Next, we go back to the earliest days of ICTN with the city's former director of community affairs, who made the genius move in 1980 of hiring Cathy Whiteman. So, of course, it has to be Patty Landers. Welcome up, Patty.
Hi, everyone. First of all, if you have worked at ICTN with Cathy in any capacity, just wave your hand, please. Look at all these people. Great. Oh, I look forward to seeing the rest of y'all there. Well, it was sometime in 1980. Some of you weren't born yet, or maybe you were in fifth grade, but stay with me here. The public library was involved in a couple of big projects at the time. A library user survey and the city's award of a cable television franchise. Our local leaders had decided that city staff would produce local cable programming instead of the cable company. We were challenged with finding out how other cities handle local television. Fortunately, we were allowed to hire a part-time graduate intern to help with these projects. And so I began interviewing people. And then something unusual happened. Here I was interviewing two people, a mother and a daughter. That was when I first met the vivacious UD graduate, Cathy Whiteman, and her mother, the fabulous Mary Bell Whiteman. Unfortunately, Mary Bell couldn't be with us tonight. I would love to see her. Give her my best, please, Cathy. Well, believe me, it was a tough decision, but we hired Cathy, and Cathy was critical in researching what other cities were doing in local programming and in analyzing what the various cable companies proposed. After the franchise was awarded, Paul Wallstrom joined us as executive producer, and early on, we knew that this intern, who was so good at research and writing, was also very comfortable on camera and had a wonderful voice too. Cathy stayed with us for a while, then she left to pursue acting and other endeavors, but as many of our interns do, Tim, you're an exception here, she returned to ICTN in a full-time position. Cathy transitioned into a position, it was our grants coordinator. We had received funds for a foundation from the cable operator, and we could award grants through our foundation for special projects that were produced by local folks. And so Pat Nix and Cathy handled that for several years, and I won't go into, there were some unusual proposals, let's just put it that way. Cathy, you handled, you handled them with grace. And one important thing several things, but Cathy also developed policies for Irving Community Television. Now, we really were pioneers in that effort. There weren't a lot of cities doing what we were doing. So again, you were calling cities and asking them what they were doing with regard to local programming. So it was about, April, I'll have to ask, or some of y'all, I think those policies, or the framework of those policies are still in place today. It was about 1995 when Cathy moved to a production position. And with Paul and the late John Everett, started the About Town show that's still going strong today. As producer, mentor, and friend, Cathy worked with everyone from like 12-year-olds at hosting the annual Christmas show to co-hosting with folks from the Heritage Center. Patient and encouraging and armed with a great smile and fortunately a good sense of humor, Cathy has interviewed hundreds of people and produced many stories, many programs. As a talented writer, producer, storyteller, host, voice talent, MC at many local events, Cathy is surely leaving a lasting imprint on our city. There's so much more I could say, and believe me, there are many stories to tell. But I'll end I'll end with this. With deference to the late, great queen of rock and roll, Tina Turner. CW, you're simply the best.
A great history lesson from Patty Landers. And next up we want to invite up someone to the podium who's involved in so many things. The Irving Heritage Society, the entertainment series of Irving, and of course the Mustangs of Las Colinas. It has to be the wonderful Mary HIGBIE. Come on up, Mary.
Well, good evening. I'm thrilled to be here, Cathy. Let's see if we can get this open for you. You know, it's already been proclaimed that you are the voice of Irving with your rich, beautiful voice on so many recordings across the city. You're also the face of Irving, for you've been diligent in attending all of the many functions and the events throughout your time at ICTN so that you could tell a better story. Your research, your knowledge, your efforts to know the backstories made you the great interviewer or the storyteller that you are and that you do so well. You have brought together so many people and their stories, stories of their passion, their projects, stories of their lives, stories of their successes, and stories of their hopes and their dreams. From the early days of ICTN reporting, to the many profiles that you did, to About Town, on which I was privileged to be a guest at that first one. Your calm and gentle way of interviewing guests made us all feel so at ease and special. You always remembered the details to ask about so that the viewing audience had all of the needed information. We're so grateful to you for those many skills and preparations that you always appeared to provide so effortlessly. We're thankful to you for your knowledge and the research before a program so that all the interesting pieces of the story could be woven together. Most of all, we're thankful for you, for loving Irving as much as the rest of us do. You've always wanted to showcase the many facets of our community and to sing the praises of each and every organization, every department, and every individual. Thank you, Cathy, for being you. We love you, and we wish you the very best in the days ahead. And now, I would like to share with you a Texas state resolution from the state of Texas by way of State Representative Terry Mesa, and the full copy is in the lobby, but I'd like to read just a few of the remarks. Whereas Cathy Whiteman's professionalism, dedication to her work, and commitment to her community have greatly benefited Irving residents and earned her the respect and admiration of her colleagues, and she may take justifiable pride in her outstanding record of the achievements as she embarks on the next exciting chapter of her life. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Cathy Whiteman be congratulated on her retirement from the Irving Community Television Network, and that she be extended sincere best wishes for the future. Signed, Terry Mesa, State Representative, District 105. Congratulations, Cathy.
Next up, from the leadership of the Irving Carrollton branch of the NAACP, former Irving ISD School Board trustee and all-around great guy, Tony Grimes. Come on up.
Good evening. I am here representing the Irving NAACP, and I'd like to say thank you, Cathy Whiteman, for the many years that you have spent in the Irving community writing, anchoring, directing, producing, and disseminating valuable information to our community for over 42 years at ICTN cable television. Your kind, professional, creative, and sincere personality with the "we can do it" contagious attitude has made you a huge asset and advocate to our community, and we'll miss you. Thank you for your coverage of the Irving NAACP, for always showing up and participating as keynote speaker, as mistress of ceremony, or as a guest for our Freedom Fund luncheon. We love you and wish you the best in your retirement. Alicia Hinkle, President, presented by Tony Grimes, First Vice President.
All of us at ICTN appreciate the positive relationship we have with our next speaker. Now, Cathy, I know you and I have wondered how he does it because he and his lovely wife, Melanie, are at more events than we are.
Is that possible?
I know. So we invite Mayor Rick Stouffer.
Well, good evening, everyone. Cathy and I go back a lot of years. When I first was elected back in the 90s, Cathy was one of the first people to actually sit down with me and talk about things that were going on in our city. And at the time, Joe Putnam was the mayor, and he put me in charge of the cable group. And so we were together on a lot of different projects, and we had the opportunity to, things were different back then. The cable companies actually gave us money, and we were able to do grants. And so we were able to find a lot of the talent that was in the city of Irving to come forward and put together programs, some of which we still see today on some of the shows, and Cathy was very instrumental in that. Over the years also, Cathy has been a dear friend to Melanie and I, always one to make sure that we were aware of what was going on, always one to include us, always one that I had the utmost respect for. As it's been said before, Cathy is definitely the voice of the city, but she's also the face of the city. And one of the reasons she's the face is I've never seen her not smile. I've never seen her not smile. And to me, that tells a lot about a person. It tells you their whole personality within inside. It tells you their commitment to life. And Cathy, I appreciate all that you've done for our city, all that you will continue to do for our city. Because, you know, we sometimes don't realize how important our employees are, the people that really come to work every day with one goal in mind, and that's to do what's right for the city of Irving. And Cathy's one of those individuals that was not just what she did in her professional life for the city, but it's what she gave back to each and every one of the organizations, the residents, the people that wanted her time. She was very generous with it, and she was always someone that they could count on. No matter how small the organization or how large the organization, she was always willing to be the person that would do the promo for them, the person who would manage their meetings, the person who would be there at their events to give out the awards. And so, Cathy, I know that you're not gonna leave us on that, hanging on that note. You're gonna be the person that's still there when we need someone to do those things. So I have a proclamation from the city. She's gonna be here, she just doesn't, when your heart's here, you never really leave, so she'll be here. I have a proclamation from the office of the mayor. It says, whereas Cathy Whiteman has served the Irving community for over 40 years as a storyteller, history maker, spokesperson, volunteer, and friend. And whereas Cathy Whiteman was the founding staff member of the newly formed Irving Community Television Network, ICTN, in 1981. And whereas Cathy Whiteman worked on several programs and features throughout the years, including Irving Week in Review, Open Line, Profiles, Slappy Time Circus, Irving Living, and eventually moved to the role of producer and anchor for About Town. in 1995. And whereas for almost 28 years, Cathy Whiteman anchored and produced ICTN's award-winning arts, culture, and community events program About Town. In her 40-plus years in career television and media, Cathy has enjoyed meeting and interviewing political figures, celebrities, local volunteers, educators, artists, and business people. And whereas Cathy also volunteered in the community with projects such as the National Endowment of the Arts for the Big Read, Keep Irving Beautiful Awards, Irving Independent School District ICE Awards, and the Miss Mature Irving pageant. She enjoys performing for children in schools and libraries as a professional storyteller with her husband, percussionist Lynn Barnett, and is so proud of her 2 sons. They have the age of your sons here. I'm not going to say that because you can't really have sons that are that old. Christopher and Stephen. And whereas I urge citizens in Irving to join me in congratulating Cathy on her exemplary years of service and wishing her the best in her retirement, now therefore I, Rick Stouffer, Mayor of the City of Irving, and the Irving City Council, do hereby proclaim this day, June 21st, 2023, as Cathy Whiteman Day.
Thank you, Mayor Stouffer, for that special proclamation and great comments. Now it's my turn, and I promise I will be brief because I know you all want to start to hear from Cathy. Believe me, I get that, because I'd kind of tell a funny story on this topic. I go to a lot of events and I introduce myself. I am with ICT. Oh, is Cathy here? Is Cathy with you today? I don't take it personally because I know I want to be around Cathy too. Her presence is so positive, so welcoming, and really impactful, and we thank you for all of that. She brings so much talent to this job, and I'm so thankful for all of the lessons I've learned from her in the more than 20 years that I've worked with her, and you will continue to see her influence in my work. But far more significant than her professional impact is how I've gotten to know her as a trusted friend. It's really meant a lot. And Cathy, let me say, if this hosting, writing, acting, podcasting thing doesn't work out in your retirement, life coach is the job for you. Because let me tell you, your insights are always spot on and so appreciated. I could go on, but I know you already know how I feel about you. We're super close, and that means so much. So I bring to the podium now our guest of honor tonight, Cathy Whiteman.
I promise I've timed this. Oh, but my gosh, you guys. It would be a lot easier to leave this job if I didn't love you all. So I'm not gonna leave it. It's over. I'm staying. So I used to be able to do this a lot better when I didn't have to have glasses. Thank you. Thank you to every single person in this room for making my job here in Irving a joy, because it has been that. I've had the opportunity, as the mayor mentioned, to interview some people with some pretty impressive resumes over my 42 years here, but I am most impressed by and grateful to you. People here who have worked to make this city a great place to work and play and live and grow up and create community. I was 18 when I came to Irving to go to school at the University of Dallas. I called my mother one day and told her I was majoring in drama. She said, "But you're so smart." Well, yeah, but the theater was calling my name. I had a plan to, after I graduated, to move to New York City as soon as I could save up enough money and get my equity card, which would mean that I would actually be able to maybe get cast in a show if I got that equity card. It took me a long time to get that equity card because I stopped caring about it because I got this job. I applied for the job, number one, because Sammy Whiteman told me to. That's like, you're not going to New York anytime soon, Punkin, you need to make some money. So I did apply for the job, but I also thought that it would be a really interesting thing to do. I had always worked at the library at the University of Dallas. It was one of my 3 jobs that I had so that I could stay in school. And I loved working in the library. So when I had the opportunity to get this internship in the library, I thought, okay, this might be a nice fit. I didn't know they were going to start a TV station. I mean, come on, that was fabulous. So I got the job. Thank you so much, Patty. And I'm so glad I didn't make you so crazy that you made me leave. Because I made her crazy, folks. I did. I really did. But thank you for not firing me. I got here and my dream changed. And I stayed. I did not expect that to be the case by any means, but boy, I tell you what, Irving got its hooks in me. And my dream changed into something better. The internship, as you heard, turned into a job at ICTN, and then turned into another job after I left, and I freelanced, and I came back, turned into a job producing and anchoring About Town. The adventures that I have had on this crazy, incredible journey with the wonderful people that I've worked with and that I've met along the way, and especially, this is not something that people in news get to do, I got to champion the arts in this community. And that is a hard thing to do if you're working in network television. But I could do it here. And oh my gosh, it truly helped me to become the person that I was meant to be. So who needs New York? I mean, really. This has been a wonderful ride. So I have some thank yous to say. Thank you to my bosses, April and Lori, for this incredible sending off party. Thank you both so much for this. And the Irving Symphony Jazz, oh my gosh, what a special, lovely touch. A very special thank you to Thomas and to Ellen, who were also on the party planning committee. Y'all know me so well. And thank you for that. I see it in all the little touches. To the members of the comms team that I really did not get to know extremely well until about 3 years ago when April came on board and sort of pulled the whole group together. And I have just loved getting to know all of you guys better and working with you. Oh my gosh. To the dream team. Bart Nestor, my About Town partner in crime and confidant. Stephen, Todd, Raina. Robert, you guys fit into our puzzle like missing pieces, and I'm so grateful that y'all are here. To our invaluable team of freelancers, I don't know what we would have done without you guys. And I don't know if she's still here or not, but to Susan, and I don't know how I would have made it the last 10 years without Susan. She, oh my gosh, my right-hand woman. Also need to say thank you to my other work family here at the Irving Arts Center, the Irving Public Library, close to my heart, Parks and Recreation. Thank you so much for not hanging up the phone every time I called and said, so I've got this idea. Thank you to the original Dream Team, Patty Landers, Pat Nix, Paul Wallstrom, for laying a foundation for our organization that lasts to this day. Thank you to the 1980s leadership team, including Mayor Bobby Joe Raper, and may he rest in peace, City Manager Jack Huffman, for literally seeing the future and realizing what ICTN could come to mean to communications in our city. To our current leadership, thank you for your continued support, your encouragement, and the guidance that you're going to provide over the next several years so that I can come back and show my grandchildren, help me if I ever get one. I can point and say that's where Grandma used to work. That'll feel real good. And finally, I told you, 3 minutes? No, not a little bit over, okay. Here is what I love about Irving. This is a community of people who have always understood that what the work about is building the best possible Irving. And that it's more effective and way more fun if we do it together. I have had the joy of telling that story here in Irving so many years, and the privilege of helping many of you to tell your parts of that story too. And who needs New York? Really? New York may be the city that never sleeps, but Irving is the city that never stops. So this isn't goodbye, and I'm not dropping any mics because I know how much they cost. I am off to some new adventures, and I've said to many of you tonight that I've been working so hard for so long that July is the month of no, so if you need it, call me by June 30th. Otherwise, I'll see you on August 1st. I'm not doing anything. I am off to new adventures, but I won't go too far. Thank you guys so much.